Yesterday I got the chance to see the third film in the Bad Boys franchise, Bad Boys for Life, starring Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, Alexander Ludwig, Charles Melton, and many, many more. And I am so happy to say that this is a January movie that is actually pretty good. I mean, I reviewed Doolittle, and you can check out my thoughts, but this is a movie releasing in you know what, I actually think they did this on purpose. They knew they had a pretty good film on their hands, and they purposefully threw everybody off and decided to release it in January. And we're going to talk about how good it was in a little bit, but before we do so, if you want to see more reviews just like this one, as well as reactions, rankings, and a bunch of cool series that I like to do on the channel, make sure to click the like and subscribe button, as well as that notification bell, so you don't miss any of those videos in the future, and so you stay up to date with all things Marvel, all things DC, and all things movies. But with that being said, this is my non-spoiler review of Bad Boys for Life. This movie sees the return of Bad Boys Michael Lowry and Marcus Burnett as they team up once again, this time to stop a Miami drug dealer. And let's cut straight to the chase. This is a pretty good movie. I found myself having an absolute blast. It wasn't as good as I expected, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but it's still pretty darn good. And the biggest part of that is the action. This is one of the closest movies that I've seen that kind of reminds me of John Wick, because John Wick, I think, has the best action out of any film, probably from the past decade. Chapters 1, 2, and 3, of course. And this movie, while it's not John Wick level, it is still insane. There were numerous moments where I found myself taken aback with my jaw dropped, saying, wow, that was insane. I found myself laughing because it was just so cool what they were doing, and I just loved the action. It was overall choreographed in a way that didn't seem like it was choreographed. It seemed authentic, it seemed real. All the action scenes, they're not shaky cam. There are some big explosions to give you the feel that this is still directed by Michael Bay. Even though it's not directed by Michael Bay, which might be one of the reasons why this is actually good. Just kidding, Michael Bay has made some good films before. But this movie does do things to kind of pay homage to what Michael Bay did and kind of make it similar to any one of his films. And when it does do that, that's when the movie just starts to get way too blockbustery, where it starts to get way too many explosions, and it just kind of just goes off the rails a little bit. I prefer the movie much more when it feels original and it feels like they're doing all this action in a way that is easy to understand and that is easy to follow along. But besides that action, you've got actually a pretty emotional story that connects our protagonists and our antagonists, and I think that's actually something that not too many movies do. What I like is when an action movie can just throw everything at you, but it can still have that emotion, it can still have some heart in it, and that's basically the best type of action movie. This movie, while it's not the best action movie ever made, it still has elements that make you care for these characters. They raise the stakes a lot, actually, and it's the first time that I really feel like all these people are in danger. I also think this movie was incredibly funny. Not too hilarious, it always found a way to kind of balance everything out. They knew when to do the humor to kind of take the weight off of the scene, when to kind of make it just for some relief real quick. They knew how to do that, and I'm glad that they realized that this is the perfect way to really do humor in a franchise like this. However, as far as mixed elements go, there is one thing with Martin Lawrence's character, which, by the way, I loved him. I love Marcus Burnett. I thought he was incredibly funny, and I did like his overall transformation throughout the movie, but there's one part of that transformation at the beginning that I just didn't really find myself liking, and part of that is that it's a bit cliched. This movie likes to play around with a lot of tropes, and not all of them work out. It likes to go through with some of the tropes, and it also likes to just kind of reverse the expectations a little bit, and when it does that, I like it. When it doesn't do that, I don't like it, which is why it kind of overall evens out, saying, yeah, this is a mixed element for me. Even though the character was great, that's just one part about him that I didn't find myself being too big of a fan of, and the overall tropes thing I thought was just a bit too played out. I like it when a movie just does its own thing and is original. And my only real negative, really, is that there are scenes that can get really, really slow. This movie is fast-paced, it's action-packed, it's thrilling, and it goes through with a pretty brisk speed. But there are scenes that kind of drag it out a lot, and scenes that get you a bit bored, scenes that just kind of don't seem like they really belong. And those are the scenes that were my least favorite parts of the movie. Those are the scenes that made me feel like, should I be watching this? Do I want to watch this? And I don't like it when there are scenes in a movie that make me ask those questions. And even though I didn't have overall too many negatives with the movie, the positives that I had, they still weren't as good as they could have been. This movie had some incredible potential, and I don't think it lived up to all the hype necessarily, although I do think this was definitely worth the wait. I do think this was overall a pretty good movie. I just thought there was so much more that you could have done, and the fact that there is a Bad Boys 4 in the works is a bit refreshing to hear that, yes, they're going forward with this and there are things that you can do, because this movie sets up things in a way that you can go forward with it. And even if it didn't do everything that it could have done in this movie, hopefully it makes up for that in the next movie. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I overall did enjoy this movie, and I'm going to give Bad Boys for Life a B+ with 2 thumbs up. Fans of action movies, you're gonna have a good time with this one. Fans of the franchise, definitely go check it out. If you haven't seen any of the movies before, check it out. You will probably like it, and you might find yourself inclined to go watch the previous 2. And if you're just looking for a nice fun time over the Martin Luther King Day weekend, then you can't really go wrong with this one. And anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button, as well as that notification bell, so you don't miss any reviews, reactions, or rankings, as well as a bunch of cool series that I'd like to do on the channel in the future. And definitely hit that notification bell so you stay up to date with all things Marvel, all things DC, and all things movies. If you liked this review, you'll probably like some of my other reviews. Check out that playlist right up top. Click that random video while you're at it. Check out that random playlist right there, and click the subscribe button right there. I will see you in the next one. Until then, have a great rest of your day and stay positive.